bringing you our Final Fantasy casual walkthrough. Let's jump into the news as soon as we find out whether or not we are live yet. Are we live yet? Why are we not live yet? This does not look like we're live. Should be live. It's odd. Go to our channel. No, we are. It says live right there. Okay, we are live. By the way, I was sitting here listening to the soundtrack, and man, Nobuo Uematsu. I don't know how to say that name, but I'm just thinking, like back in the day, in the late 1980s, when he created these soundtracks, and I know this is not actually the original soundtrack. I think this is a remake, but just the rich detail of his orchestration with the technology of that day is mind-blowing. And that he was willing to do it for video games, which back in that day, like, it was unheard of. Pun intended. Okay, Final Fantasy in 2021, Final Fantasy VII Remake Interrogate Part 2, F16, and F14 in Walker. I doubt it's really going to tell you anything about Part 2, but we'll see. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, here's what comes in each edition. There's going to be editions. I don't know what that means. Final Fantasy creator is back with classic RPG make of incredible handcrafted dioramas. Not sure what that's talking about. Alright, Inverse usually has some good stuff though, so let's dive in. Strong Footing, 2020s. Sephiroth. 16 and other potential spin-offs and releases. Final Fantasy fans have a lot to look forward in 2021, which is this year. What's next for Final Fantasy 20 includes some theories and predictions. If your Final Fantasy PlayStation 4, purchased and played Final Fantasy Remake, on the off chance you haven't, Sony has made the game free for anyone with a paid PS subscription. So that's actually amazing, and yet, man, I paid full price for Final Fantasy. I should have just waited a year. There's no way I could have waited, and I'm glad I didn't. It was an awesome game, but they should give us, you know, something additional. Come on, Sony. The game is technically a game on PS4 until April 5th, but if you get Final Fantasy Remake through this method on PS5, you'll be missing out on the best feature from the free PS5 upgrade. But if you get Final Fantasy Remake through this message on PS5, you'll be missing out on the best features from the free PS5 upgrade. Why? I don't get it. Final Fantasy Remake Integrate coming to PS5. Maybe that's what it's talking about. Square Enix know that a Final Fantasy Integrate was coming to the PlayStation 5 port. This was a culmination of a month's worth of rumors. They should have released it on the PC. Anyway, next-gen upgrades, improved visuals, loading times, new haptic feedback, thanks to DualSense controller, along with a photo mode and options to prioritize graphics or performance, which you shouldn't have to do. Anyways, I won't go on that rant again, but the biggest surprise is a new episode featuring everyone's favorite teenage ninja as the main playable character, Yuffie Kisaragi. So I remember when they imported Shinra. I wonder if she was part of that group and you just didn't see her. She'll be joined by a new character named Sonan. So I guess that guy is not Sid. While it's unclear how President Yuffie's new story will overlap with the pre-existing timeline, her addition makes it clear that she'll be a playable character. Okay. 14's update in Walker. You know pretty much all about that. In Walker marks a new beginning from a beloved MMO, setting the stage for new adventures that longtime fans and new players can enjoy together. There will be a Final Fantasy XIV Digital Fan Festival held on May 14th. That's interesting. And 15th. That should include more information. The expansion promises all the following: journeying to Thavnair, the imperial capital of Garlanald, and even the moon. Yeah, Final Fantasy Skill of the Moon are awesome. New job, Sage and more. Sage, level cap increases from 80 to 90, that's interesting. Expansive new areas. Garlemade, Thavnair, and the city of Radzadhan. The Arxodora, it's a new tribe. New treats, including anima. New dungeons, new difficulty raid, Pandemonium. Secrets revealed, the new alliance raid secrets, new small-scale PvP mode, in addition trust system ally, Einsteinian Wormblood, a new residential district, Ishgard, updates the Gold Saucer, relaxing fun, an island sanctuary, new gear and crafting recipes, expansion horizons via the data center travel system. Final Fantasy VII, the First Soldier mobile battle royale release. So, I mean, I'm interested in this. This looks interesting. More surprising, mobile Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale game. It's going to be released this year. The First Soldier. Final Fantasy, the First Soldier. Like Fortnite, Apex Legends, Call of Duty, Warzone, the First Soldier is free-to-play Battle Royale game. Oh, I didn't know it was free-to-play. Except it's only slated for release on iOS and Android. This First Soldier is set in Midgar. This will make my wife happy. They love to play PUBG or whatever and cell phone games. I sort of hate it, but might try it out for this. Midgar before the events of Final Fantasy VII. As a soldier candidate, the player will make full use of their magic and abilities in a battle for their survival. An official description reads, it's largely... Hold on, I can't hear myself think. Gotta turn down that awesome music a little bit. An official description reads, it's largely a third-person action game like Fortnite, which I don't like, but aiming down the sights of a weapon shifts things into first-person perspective. So I guess that's only temporary when you're aiming. Not a big fan of that. It's all a bit baffling. The combat doesn't look half bad. Wait and see. Later this year. I don't know if it has a release date, but because we don't have a first release date yet, we'll be closer to the end of the year. But it's this year, I guess. Final Fantasy Remake on the Xbox Game Pass. Confirmed to true achievement in early January that several more Final Fantasy games to Xbox Game Pass at some point 2021. And it doesn't have Final Fantasy, the Zodiac Age. What the heck is Zodiac Age? Oh, that's 12. Doesn't have Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7 Remastered Final Fantasy 9 will also remain in the Xbox Game Pass until further notice. I don't know what that means. There's been no further news about Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy Remake has been a timed exclusive for PlayStation 4 with a window of exclusivity set to expire in April 2021, which is soon. It's unclear whether or not Sony has extended that window in some way, considering the fact that we're getting integrated and remake. So much for PC release. Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 release date reveal. Consider this one a hopeful dream. Could we learn more about Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 or even see it released in 2021? There's some speculation the aforementioned February 2020 concert could include info about the upcoming sequel, but that seems far-fetched. Yeah, and nothing happened. We know for a fact the next installment was in development in early December, blah blah, progressing smoothly in the same motion. She had completed a lengthy setting. Yeah, this is all news. Regardless, we should get some kind of update or at least a trailer by the end of 2021. But the next century is a shorter game. We could get something even better. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Final Fantasy VI release date. Showcase the trailer. We saw the trailer. Comparison to Game of Thrones and Dark Souls. Games producer Yoshi P. Initial announcement that the next big reveal is scheduled for 2021. Basic development and scenario production is complete for later this year. Release date, just a release date announcement. Did release a playable demo for Final Fantasy 15 about 8 months before the full game was released. In a February 2021 radio interview, he spoke about it but didn't say any release date. Won't be released until late in the year 2022, probably 2022. Live action Final Fantasy 14 show news. Announced a partnership with HiveMind a Realm Reborn live action series. They made The Witcher. Sony Pictures co-president previously promised that the series will delight any Final Fantasy fan. The show is about embracing and embodying all of the elements that have made the mythos such an endlessly captivating phenomenon. And it's an immense honor to be bringing all of Azoria's iconic character settings and concepts, including fan favorites like Cid and of course the Chocobos, to life for a television audience. Live action version of that. We'll see. There's been total dearth of news since the initial announcement, and no telling when we'll hear more, but perhaps it'll happen before the end of 2021. I'd like to remind you that the original footage of Final Fantasy VII Remake was shown 10 years before the game came out. Anyways, Final Fantasy Remake ready. Here's what comes in each edition. There's going to be editions. June 10th, it includes an upgraded version of the original game plus a new episode featuring Yuffie. It's available for pre-order. Get it at Amazon for $30. That's cheap. The PS5 version of the upgrade comes at $70. The PS4 version of Final Fantasy Remake is currently on sale, or you get it free. The only drawback here is that you'll have to buy the Yuffie episode separately. The price for that is not even announced. Is there going to be a Yuffie episode for PlayStation 4? I don't think so. Final Fantasy Remake Integrate Deluxe Edition. Digital Deluxe Edition includes everything standard version, plus a digital art book and a digital mini soundtrack. If you already own it. Anyone who already owns Final Fantasy Remake can download the PS5 upgrade for free starting June 10th. Remember however you'll have to pay extra for a Yuffie episode. How much extra? As a PlayStation Plus free game. Okay, so the upgrade is not available if you got the free game. It is available through March 2021 for PS Plus members. So we do get a little bonus there. That's nice. Fortunately, I don't have a PlayStation 5 and won't until the end of the winter, so hopefully, or I'm sorry, the end of the year. Final Fantasy VII Remake upgrade, enhanced visuals, photo mode, haptic feedback, we already went over that. What is the Yuffie episode? We went over that. Okay, nothing new there. Final Fantasy creators back with a classic RPG made of incredible handcraft dioramas. So I've been seeing this a lot. Oh, but it's, yeah. This is a breakoff project, isn't it? Fantasian has everything you come from New Hironobu Sakagachi experience. Lush fantasy world, turn-based combat, global spanning quest, new soundtrack from Nobuo Uematsu, speak of the devil. Single screen game world has a distinct vibe because it's built from tiny handcrafted dioramas, and if you know me, I'm a huge miniature guy, so that is pretty cool. We'll have to see though. Coming soon to Apple Arcade. I hate Apple Arcade. He says the concept began around 3 years ago, and he has the collaborators play Final Fantasy IV for the first time in years, which I really adore the classic RPG genre and renew my interest in it. Oh, there's a trailer. Let's watch it. Time has come. Hello, Errant girl. Interesting graphic style so far. Looks like their motion capture is pretty modern. But they still go with the cartoony style, which I sort of like, the anime style. I don't like more modern looking airships though. so well. Wasn't overly impressed with that soundtrack either, but it looks more like sci-fi fantasy than what I like. Tale begins governed by machines, so there's the sci-fi, which Leo causes a massive explosion of hybrid magic tech factory, resulting in his memory loss, not to be confused with Final Fantasy VII. Following the one memory left to him, a vision of a young woman, he is transported to a dusty frontier town called Inn, not to be confused with Midgar. There he is reunited with a girl from his memory, Kina. In an effort to recover Leo's memories and find their own destinies, the two set off on an adventure together. During their travels, Leo's past is revealed bit by bit. As many layers that make up the game world within this multi-dimensional universe, the balance of chaos and order becomes a key factor in the struggle for these realms and the machinations of the gods who wish to control them. That's cool. Diorama, 150 of them in total. Godzilla and Attack on Titan. That's cool. Very tedious. You have to be conscious and intentional on how you construct the environment. You can add in part another. You don't really have that flexibility. Sweating a few times in development. You could diorama exhibits using 3D models and playing with the textured lighting, standing, shading, but instead we opted for much more analog methodology. So it's going to be interesting because I love analog over CG and comparing the differences. There's an interesting synergy be touching up with your fingers and hands through the screen that's created by those artisans by hand. iOS, Mac, and Apple TV. So, I mean, I have an iPad, but not a big fan of an exclusive Apple product. Resurgence. Let's be honest, I'm in the later chapter of the game development career, and each game can take years to go from conception to release. Yeah, tell me about it. I personally enjoyed playing these types of games, and that's what brings me back to it. Well, this is actually one of the biggest challenges we're facing right now, trying to figure out where to store these things, he said. I really want to have to throw them away. Well, I can send you my address. Alright, that's enough. Let's dive in. If you remember, let's look at our status first. Let's see if anybody's chatting with us real quick. Hi, Tim. Hey, give me a call. I thought it was Errant. You suck. He wants us to call him. Tim. Okay, that didn't work. There he is. We'll attempt to call Tim while we're doing that. Let's take a look at our status real quick. And about level 5 or 6. 6 with the shields. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Lance.
6.
You gotta put it like, oh,
6.
Tim wants us to call him.
6.
Just here to volunteer my commentary on your game if you want.
See, Tim, Mariel's spirit is the same as everybody else's except for Mindu's. So it looks like you have to cast the spell in the game and you have to do it multiple times before it will update your magic powers.
I didn't understand what you're even talking about. Say that again. Her what?
Alright, if you hold on. If you remember correctly, we're in the cave. So this is walking into the Mithril cave. I said the only way you can upgrade your spirit... Wait, we got some new enemies here. Nope, just a loper. Is to use the... Like, you can't use your heal spells outside of battle in order to increase your spirit. You have to do it within battle. And I haven't been doing that with Mario, so which sucks. I should have been.
Doing it in battle? That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I mean, I Googled it. I didn't figure that out. I said, no, you can't figure this game out by yourself. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if the instruction manual tells you things like this, but... Well, at least the enemies are pretty much the same in the cave. Ooh! Except they have more gil. There's a crystal in the middle of the floor that...
Wait, I have the instructions, don't I? This is in Origins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was playing it. Let's see. Oh no, I sent you. Remember, I told you what it says, and I sent you pictures. It didn't explain much more than that. Some stats go up, some go down. Just keep using your stats, and stuff will work out. We promise. Eventually, you'll be powerful enough to clear the game. We hope.
It's just like real life. Shouldn't need an instruction manual.
Right?
Have you been playing, Tim?
Not at all. No, I've been too busy with school and stuff. I've had a lot going on. So you'll have to catch me up on your story, and I'll go back and play it.
10 gil. I got 10 gil from the treasure chest.
I think I was partially not motivated because I was intimidated, as we discovered last time I was on, or last time I was playing with you, how hard it is to grind. It's like,
here's the void. This dungeon just disappears into the void. It doesn't have walls or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not that bad if you have a fast forward button.
Yeah, I'm sure. So if you're trying to play it honorably, it just sucks.
Honorably?
Yeah. Well, I guess honorably is not... I don't know. Yes, you're on an emulator, right?
Yeah.
You're not on a different version that included a fast forward button. The Sasquatch.
This is not part of the... the fast forward button is part of is not part of the game. Oh, so it has to be part of the game for it to be honorable?
Hey, you know, it's something to be said. If I told you that using it without a fast forward button, that I got to like level 99, for example, it would be more of an accomplishment than you getting to 99 with a fast forward button. Do you agree?
But that's different than saying honorable and unhonorable. 200 gil, that's more like it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess but here's the thing too, is it really, does it really impress anyone that I sat and was stupid enough to go that high versus someone else that was smart enough to put in a speed button and play it that way?
Well, and technically, even back in the day, they had stuff like Game Genie, right, where but that, like, I do draw the line on that, like, if you're gonna cheat, then that's like, that's not going through the game faster. That's like, oh, give me 999 hit points, and see, that's, I don't cheat like that.
The only game I even know of, or that I remember using the Game Genie on, and I still have my Game Genie with the code book, is Final Fantasy 1.
So that's the only way you cleared it, Tim.
No, I didn't actually beat it. I didn't beat it with that. I remember because here's the problem.
You've never beat it?
No, what I'm saying is with the Game Genie, the first time I used the Game Genie was on Final Fantasy 1. That's not the first time I beat it, is what I meant to say. Because the problem is, what you remember the Game Genie, I don't know if you ever used it, the Game Genie has 3 slots for codes.
Right. And
a big book of codes. And some cheats are so good that they require 2 codes. So it's going to take 2 of your 3 slots. The one that I would always use, because the problem for a newbie that doesn't understand grinding, doesn't understand the game, as we talked about when we started the your first series there, was getting money and affording equipment, or even knowing how to equip equipment. You know, so that's cool. You can swim. So
but you can't swim in the ocean or a river. Only in underground streams.
Come on, Lance, the current's way too strong in a lake. But I was going to say, using the Game Genie, the main cheat that appealed to me was having infinite money. Well, the way the infinite money works is that you actually purchase or you actually grind. You win money and you get it from dungeons and from battles and stuff. But if you go buy something, it doesn't actually remove the money from your inventory. So it's not like you have infinity money. You have to actually get that much money from battles. You just don't ever use your money.
I choose door number 1. What's behind door number 1?
Now, if you go through life in Final Fantasy never needing money, you're never grinding. So very quickly, you learn that you cannot beat a dungeon because your guys suck, no matter how expensive your equipment got.
Right.
So no, I did not beat the game doing that. I think I got to the volcano level or something. I was just like destroyed because I didn't really understand concepts of Final Fantasy back then.
Well,
But some of the other
that's the difference between me and you. Is I always felt like another 1 kill. Final Fantasy strategy guides. I always consider that to be cheating, and I will use them, but not unless I've cleared the game. Same thing with this. Like the fast forward button, I would probably use in some of these older games just because I don't have the patience anymore. Like for the transition. I mean, going through the battles is fine. It's not that bad. Up until you get to like, if you get to Final Fantasy 9, that transition takes forever, and the battle system takes forever. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Well, and later on, when you get some of the like summons and stuff, do you remember if?
Yeah, the summons that take forever and you can't skip them.
Yeah. Like at the end of Final Fantasy VII, you're calling down Leviathan and stuff, or not Leviathan, Bahamut and stuff.
Enemies.
It's like Bahamut like flies from the moon and soars through the stars.
Yeah.
And then, like,
one planet at a time.
Yeah, and it like crashes through, lands on the earth, and then it blasts this thing, and then flies away, and roll credits from the cinematic. And it's like the guys that made this movie was Tim and Lance. And then it's like, you know, 9999, and the guy's not even dead. And then you go into the next part of the battle. And then you have King Arthur. It's like every night of King Arthur's round table has to come in with this big CGI attack, and like, come on.
Okay, I'm gonna have to.
And they're cool.
I'm gonna have to give Mariel spells. She's gonna have to be a red wizard, because I can't. Maybe I'll give. I don't know, man. I can't give him to Mindu. Yeah, I'll just give him to Mariel. I'll just give her both.
As far as the running though, I will say that as soon as Final Fantasy whatever 5 or 6 whatever American 3 is, when they invented the sprint shoes, I was like, you guys are freaking geniuses. And it sucked that they didn't why not just make that part of the command? You always had to have someone in your party equipped with them.
Well, and
so that you could do it.
And it's funny because most of the other remakes, like once you probably get to, I don't know if 3, because I haven't played 3 in forever, but at least 4, 5, 6, not 7, but I don't know about 8, but at least those 4, 5, and 6, they now have an auto feature, so the battle just pretty much goes on without you.
Yeah, we talked about that. How that's not exciting. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
It's
like it sort of shows that the combat system is just not very good. If you can
not a challenge.
Yeah.
So that's why Final Fantasy 1 is a great challenge for that. It's like that's one aspect of Final Fantasy 1 that, as far as I know, has never been duplicated, where every round has to be very carefully planned and executed, or else it gets life and death in that game, the original especially. But,
and I like that.
But there's different aspects that are challenging, but yeah. Anyway. So you'll have to catch me up on the story, because I don't have the Nintendo Power to tell me the great epic tale of
finding. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I always felt like using the Nintendo Power was cheating, and it wasn't just because there's no way my parents would ever let me get Nintendo Power, but
I agree with that. The Nintendo Power for Final Fantasy 1 that I had does give you more, like telling you strategies or weakness. Right. I mean, not weaknesses, because the game.
Oh, it would give you maps and all that kind of stuff.
Well, but no more maps than what you already had. The difference is it told. No, I don't even think it told you what was in the chest. Yeah, it did. That's the difference. It told you what was in the chests. So, didn't it?
Yeah, I think if I remember right, you told me that. Which I guess, yeah, technically is not cheating. But in general, I
That
like...
is cheating. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Why? Because no, a normal person is going to go and get all the chests anyway. Whether they've
Yeah, but
got
okay.
1 gil or 10 gil or 100
But you're
gil.
in the marsh cave, right? You're trying to get to the 3rd floor to get to the crown.
Oh, I guess
And
that's
like
true. You can get the sword first or whatever.
Yeah. The first thing you do is come to a fork with 3 different directions, and one of them goes pretty much nowhere. The other one goes to like some
Straight
treasure.
to the enemy.
Yeah, yeah. The other one goes down to a room with like 4 rows of 4 columns of rooms, and you're getting beat up by these goblins and magic users and zombies and things that need harm spells and stuff. That is the when they use the term dungeon crawler, the marsh cave is the most crawliest version of a dungeon ever because you are limping in and out of that place, unprepared and unready, and just with all these things that either need magic to fight or they're slimes that your swords don't do any good against. And it's just so hard. And you get to the very end, and then the wizards are using instant death spells on you.
I think these are supposed to be like places where you go to grind these little caves. Oh, look, there's people. Mithril. Slave, please help me. Shut up, slave. What's your real name, slave? You're Taran, right? Hey, so in this Final Fantasy, you actually talk back, Tim.
Yeah, we talked about that. You're part of the story for it, finally.
We've met in the town of Altair. Hello, Molly. It's Joseph's daughter. Okay, I can't remember the complicated story, but who's Joseph again? Borghin. Who the heck is Borghin? He took her as hostage and threatened to kill her unless Joseph did as she said. All I know is that they said, hey, you guys got to get Mithril. And so, like, okay, there's a king, right? And the prince is like chicken, or the king is chicken. I think it's the prince is chicken. The king died, and so now the prince has to step it up, but he won't. He got rebels. And there's this one girl who's the leader because the prince is chicken, and she told you to go get Mithril, and so you go to Mithril and you meet Sid for the first time in Final Fantasy, even though I think the remake had Sid in the original. But anyway, he's like, hey, you want to take an airship to this place to find Mithril? And you're like, okay. And so it takes you on an airship, but you have to pay. It's like a taxi. And it goes straight to it. You can't fly it or anything, so it's a bit underwhelming, but whatever.
Oh, I did see you do that part.
And you don't need to worry you don't actually need to take the airship. I walked up. After I paid my airship fee, I walked up anyway just because I needed to grind, and then I walked back down and then took the airship. But anyways, you get here, and the guy's like, yeah, I know where Mithril is, but first you have to free the slaves, or I'm not going to tell you. One of those kind of... You have to prove yourself. So that's what we're doing. We're freeing the slaves who are being forced to mine for the Emperor. I have no idea. Well, I learned this place for some Mithril. Here I am. Who's Pavel, though? Wasn't he the, like... I can't remember who he is. He's a thief or something. I think he's the thief back in the town.
So this says the appearances of Sid, Final Fantasy 1. Sid does not appear in the original NES version. He is mentioned briefly in remakes, a retcon designed to extend the presence of Sid into every game of the core Final Fantasy series. Sid is described as the ancient Luthien, creator of the airship of the Warriors of Light used. So in the version you played, they would have mentioned him, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, they did.
Playing the original. Yeah,
they
so
mentioned
there
him.
you
That's
go.
why I was like, hey, this is the first time we saw Sid.
And I was like, nuh-uh. I know everything about this game.
Okay, well, we're over time, Tim. So I'm going to head back to those 3 doors because I chose the correct one. And I want to see what's in all the other ones.
You're over time. It's been a half hour. You spent the first hour on freaking Wikipedia looking at news.
Yeah, there was a lot of news today. It's mostly rehashing. Everybody's like got all their got all excited about Final Fantasy retro remake, whatever. Yuffie's coming. You don't care. You didn't play Final Fantasy remake, Tim. It's free for PlayStation 4 Plus.
Yuffie is.
It's free for PlayStation Plus 4 subscribers. Are you guys PlayStation Plus 4 subscribers?
No, dude, I don't subscribe to that crap.
Well, then you don't get it for free.
Oh no! I have absolutely zero interest or need to pay $10 an hour, $15 an hour, whatever, to go online.
$15 an hour? I ain't paying that much.
Sorry, I mean a month, to get my butt kicked by a bunch of people who are like 15 years old or 12 years old.
Like my son.
Kids in China, whatever, who just sit there and do this all day long and play in the lower leagues just so they can
Japanese
be dominating.
or Korea, but yeah. Okay,
No,
she
thank
cast
you.
a spell in battle. Did it do anything? Nope. Because she has to cast it a bunch of times. Okay, so this was the correct door. This is not the correct door.
Okay, Lance, what was the first game you played a multiplayer online? I think I
Final
know
Fantasy.
the answer. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it was. That was the first one I did.
Final Fantasy what?
11.
No, it's not.
That was the first one I did.
You played Warcraft 3 long before. Or Warcraft 3. On your modem in your parents' basement.
That's true, but
When you hooked it up. I remember. I was
if
sitting
you're
there, I was
talking
like,
about
you mean that's like some guy?
multiple people online, then that was it.
I just meant playing a game against another player online.
Yeah.
So, okay, looking at it that way, did you play anything before Mortal Kombat? Or before Mortal Kombat? Before, whatever I just said, Warcraft 2? Or it was Warcraft 3.
I don't think
Did you?
so.
Was there Warcraft? Was Warcraft 2?
No, I played one online.
Warcraft 1?
Yeah. That was the first one we played online. Was one. I think it was me and Matthew, because you didn't have it.
No. I didn't have, like, internet. Or you didn't have internet. It was on the phone. It's your modem.
Yeah.
With that.
Okay, I'm gonna save. Even though you're not supposed to be able to save. Art? Oh, actually, I think you can. They do have a quick save feature here. Memo file.
I don't think that's a cheat.
I didn't say it was.
I know, I'm just saying. The only reason it would be a cheat is if it let you use tents anywhere you want.
Alright, thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Any last words, Tim? See you tomorrow.
Sorry I was late. I didn't realize it was so late.